Prices impact nearly everyone who drives, and today, as we head into the new year, we're getting a glimpse into the future at the pump and prices there for West Michigan. Earlier today, I talked with GasBuddy.com analyst Patrick DeHaan. Obviously, it's one of the items that all of us have to account for in our budget every week. Short term, what are we looking at for gas prices here as we wrap up this holiday travel season?
Anybody stuck on the roads today is likely noticing higher prices. Prices in Grand Rapids, West Michigan, and much of Michigan for that matter, jumping to $3.39 a gallon from about $3.20. Michigan statewide average was down to $3.20. So another 20-cent spike here that we're seeing today. Now prices are some 40 cents higher than they were just a few weeks ago when in Caledonia prices dipped down under $3 a gallon.
So why is that?
Well, a lot of it has to do with rising oil prices, rising wholesale gasoline prices. Just today, the day after Christmas, oil prices have risen about $2.50 a barrel. They're back above $90 a barrel. For whatever reason, that's translated into higher wholesale gasoline prices. There's nothing really that's changed between now and, say, 2 weeks ago. But this is just what normally happens at the end of the year. Prices start to go up. Inventories become drawn down a bit tighter. There's some end-of-year movements, we'll call them. Oil companies want to draw down inventories for tax purposes. That generally leads to higher prices. 6 out of the last 7 years, we've seen prices rise between Christmas Day and mid-January. That's what we're seeing this year.
Hard, obviously, to forecast anything over an entire year, but as we go into 2013, and I know it's difficult with the price of crude oil and how that fluctuates and storms on and off land. I mean, there's so many variables. What can you tell us about what we should expect throughout the year?
You've given me so many outs now.
Well, it's true, right?
It is. It's very difficult to forecast prices with at least 100% certainty. We can get close, but what we expect here this year, 2 price peaks. One in late winter, early spring. Prices will peak in April or May. Then we'll see another price peak in August. That price peak in Grand Rapids could mean prices again over $4 a gallon. We've had that too many years in a row. It's too predictable. It's very likely that we see prices again very close to $4, perhaps going over. We'll see volatility here in the Great Lakes. Prices will probably shoot up much higher than the national average at some point in the spring. There's a big refinery project in northwest Indiana that's wrapping up. That could have stipulations on gas prices as that finishes up towards this end of the year. So bottom line cliff notes, another ugly year at the pump. Volatility, prices will be going up and down like a roller coaster ride. Prices eventually come back down towards the end of the year, but right now this is as good as it's going to get, at least for quite some time. Prices will likely begin marching higher starting in the month of February. More noticeably, they will really start to ramp up in March and in April.
Interesting, you were explaining to me earlier also that what happens in the retail season, which we've just gone through, really does affect price. Can you explain that?
That's right. Here in the next week or two, we'll start to see what sales of retail channels were. We'll start to see sales numbers trickle in from all the majors. That will set a tone for what's to come at the pump in 2013. Retail sales are a very, very significant item in the fact that they show that people are spending or they aren't spending. And what that means, if people are spending more at buying gifts, they're likely to spend more on themselves, more on vacations later in the year. And what does that mean? If they're spending now, they'll be spending down the road, and they'll likely be using gasoline in the process if they buy themselves a cruise or vacation. If things in the economy look good now, that means more people will be hitting the road, higher demand later in the year, thus driving prices higher.
Thanks, Patrick. And this a live look now at our gas price temperature map, courtesy of GasBuddy. If you want to take a closer look at prices around where you live, just go to woodtv.com and click on the traffic link. That's near the top of our homepage.